I want to acknowledge and thank our interpreter Shoshana this morning for being with us. First of all, some housekeeping. As you'll expect, there are two emergency exits, one up the back, one down here, if you need to exit the building in the case of a fire or another emergency. If there's an earthquake, stop, drop and hold. And the toilets are out the doors, down the lifts or the stairs, and in the building downstairs. Okay, well, welcome everybody. It's exciting to be here for another Green Party policy announcement, this time our first one on climate change. I was thinking last night, the Green Party does seem to be winning the policy game in this election campaign. We had a comprehensive poverty action plan announced with significant reforms to our tax and income structures in this country, something that would help to lift up all people and equalise the playing field for all of us in this country. And again, here we are for another policy announcement. But it does seem we're winning this policy game, but it almost seems like no one else is even playing. But nevertheless, we are here for what I know will be a very significant new policy announcement that I'm sure will help to nourish our election campaign as we go forward. Okay, well, it's my great pleasure to get us underway by introducing the Green Party of Aotearoa, New Zealand's candidate for Tāmaki Makaurau, rangatira of the Green Movement, and our co-leader, Marama Davidson.
Tuatahi, he mihi tēnei kia koutou, ngā mana whenua e pupuri tonu ana ki te mana o tēnei whenua. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Kia rātou, koe wheturangi hia, haere ki te pō, haere, haere, haere atu rā. Hoki mai kia tātou ngā kanuhi ora, kua tai mai ki tēnei kaupapa i te rānei, tēnā koutou, kia ora mai tātou katoa. Kia ora. And morena koutou, morena. Thank you, Councillor Thomas Nash, for starting us off this morning. Thank you everyone for being here with us in Wellington City and to everyone on our live stream. Only 2 weeks ago, as Thomas reminded us, we announced our first election priority, which is part of our green vision to ensure everyone has what they need to thrive, to nurture our environment, and to take effective action against climate change. We announced our bold poverty action plan that Sunday, and I'm proud that we have restarted an incredibly important conversation across the country. Too many people not having enough, while a few have more than they will ever need. The Green Party knows that to tackle climate change, environmental degradation and inequality, we must acknowledge that these issues are connected, that caring for people and planet must go hand in hand. That's why today I'm excited that James will outline the next part of our bold plan for a better world. We all want a stable planet that our plants, animals and mokopuna can thrive on. We must care for Papatūānuku as our beloved mother. She deserves protecting in and of herself, and not just because we all need her to survive. Revolutionising our energy system is essential to protect our climate, to ensure everyone can live dignified lives, and to care for nature. Aotearoa has a unique opportunity to lead the world in the goal of 100% renewable energy. We know we can better use the sun, the wind, water, natural gases and biomass like forestry waste to power our communities. Aotearoa can lead this because we are a nation built on the legacy of Maui capturing the sun. But at the moment, we are held hostage to dirty fossil fuels. Corporations and people in power who have vested interests in the fossil fuel status quo have entrenched a polluting energy system. There have been few incentives for clean energy, large subsidies for the dirty stuff, and moves to actively discourage renewables. Fossil fuel energy is bad for people, bad for climate, bad for the environment and bad for business. But there is another way. When my mokopuna Raya is all grown up, I want to be able to tell her that we chose clean energy, that we chose to protect our environment, that by thinking ahead and making smart choices now, we ensured she and the planet could survive. The Greens have pushed hard every day to move us towards clean, smart energy. And we know we must do more and quickly. E tiwi, I am very proud now to introduce my co-leader, James Shaw.
Kia tau taranga Māori e o te rangi e tūnei, o Papatūānuku e ta kota nei. O te taio e āwhenei, ki ringi a tātou. Tihei Māori ora. Tēnā koutou katoa. And good morning. 14 years ago, our dear departed Jeanette Fitzsimons said, I hope to achieve a radical improvement in our energy efficiency across the economy that will reduce the coal burned in power stations, empower households so that they can see that they can reduce their power bills, and lead the way to a truly solar economy. Now, it's been a long time coming, but we are finally on the verge of making Jeanette's vision, shared by so many of us, a reality. When all of our energy comes from the sun, the wind, and the flow of our rivers, we simply will not need to burn the fossil fuels that are causing the climate crisis. So today I am delighted to share with you the Greens plan to help households, communities, and businesses to make the switch to clean, renewable energy and to cut greenhouse gas emissions from industry and from electricity generation. Now, you may remember in 2018, which is not long after we got into government, thousands of the world's leading scientists published a report describing the absolute necessity of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. The consequences of allowing global warming to reach 1.5 degrees will be bad enough. But at 2 degrees or higher, the consequences will be catastrophic, they said. The scientists also told us that our best chance to keep global warming to 1.5 degrees is to cut carbon dioxide emissions in half by 2030 and to reach net zero carbon dioxide by 2050. Now, when that report was published in 2018, we had 12 years left to make the necessary reductions. But we don't have 12 years anymore. Now we have only 10. And soon it will be 9. The Green Party arrived in government at the last possible moment before the window of opportunity to change course closed forever. Successive governments over the last 3 decades have left a legacy of indecision, dithering, and tinkering at the margins. And just look back over the last 9 years of the previous national government, and you will see what is a familiar pattern of neglect. Families struggling to make ends meet. People forced to make impossible choices between heating their homes and putting food on the table. And a complete absence of any meaningful action on climate change. When we came into government, we committed to changing the rules. We made a promise to Aotearoa that we would not shy away from what the future demanded of us, but work to shape it. Now, over the last 3 years, our government, your Green government, has passed unanimously the Zero Carbon Act with a legal requirement for Aotearoa to operate within the threshold of 1.5 degrees of global warming. We set up the Climate Change Commission to guide and to hold to account all future governments against that requirement. We put a lid on the ETS, meaning emissions must fall every year from this year onwards until we reach net zero. We ended offshore oil and gas exploration. We kickstarted the hydrogen economy to replace it. We funded the replacements of old coal-fired boilers in our schools and our hospitals. We put in place new greener building standards for energy efficiency in state homes, rentals and new builds. We made climate change a consenting issue under the Resource Management Act. We required default KiwiSaver funds to be 100% free of all fossil fuel investments. We persuaded ACC to divest from fossil fuels. We established Green Investment Finance Limited and funded the Wellington port to completely decarbonise. We moved to bring in climate-related risk reporting for major companies and public agencies. We planted nearly 160 million trees. We got rid of single-use plastic bags. We started to shift the public service car fleet to electric vehicles, and we invested billions of dollars in new rail, buses, cycleways and walking infrastructure. We have done more in the last 3 years of government than in the previous 30 years of governments combined. And none of it would have happened if the Greens weren't a part of this government. Now, we also know that one term of government was never going to be enough to fix everything that needed to be fixed. There will never be a moment when we can say we've done all that we need to do, that we've won. Lasting change demands that we keep working every single day. And that is why we're here today. To say that we find ourselves in an unprecedented moment is obvious. What is less obvious is where we go from here. Right now, and over the next parliamentary term, the government is going to be making decisions about the post-pandemic stimulus that will shape our country for decades. We're bringing forward the equivalent of at least 1 decade's discretionary spending into a single parliamentary term. So this election is going to come down to one thing, and one thing only. What is the vision for the future of Aotearoa? What the Green Party will be putting to New Zealand is not a recovery, but a renewal. A renewal of our economy so that it meets the needs of everyone. A renewal of the relationship between that economy and the natural world so that we simultaneously cut emissions, restore our natural heritage, and create jobs. For decades, our economic progress has been accompanied by entrenched poverty and environmental degradation. Now that fact may be easier to see now because of COVID-19, but the truth is, these conditions existed long before the virus arrived in New Zealand. Right now, we have a once-in-a-century opportunity to change. To make our homes warmer and cheaper to run, our communities more vibrant and resilient, our economy stronger and more equitable. Now, you know, as well as I do, if not better, that today's young people are growing up deeply worried about how climate change is going to impact their lives, which is hardly surprising when you consider that every year that they have been alive has been one of the hottest on record. They're looking at us and they're wondering whether we have the courage to step up. They want to know whether we will do what's needed to build a better world for them and for their future families, or whether they'll inherit from us a planet that is beyond fixing. What the Green Party has been saying to them is clear, and this clean energy plan says it too. It says we do need to change. We do need to do things differently. That to avoid the worst impacts of the climate crisis, we need to think ahead and build a zero-carbon world that meets the needs of every New Zealander. Now, I'd like to take this moment to acknowledge my friend and colleague, Gareth Hughes. Gareth is retiring from Parliament at this election. As the Greens energy spokesperson, Gareth has worked tirelessly throughout his entire career to end our reliance on fossil fuels, to convince New Zealand that we can keep the coal in the hole and the oil deep under the sea. Just a few months ago, after a decade of pushing to get people into work insulating homes, he managed to win an additional $56 million to expand the Warmer Kiwi Homes program. And Gareth was instrumental in the ending of offshore oil and gas exploration in Aotearoa. So Gareth, on behalf of our party and on behalf of New Zealand, I thank you for your mahi and I wish you all the very best for your next adventure. Now, because of people like Gareth and all of our fantastic Green MPs and whānau, people understand the choice that we face. Everything in this clean energy plan is a result of that choice, the choice that we have made to build a better future. That future is closer within reach than it has ever been before, and the next step on our journey there begins today. As industry decarbonises, as households switch over to electric cars, as electricity generation becomes 100% renewable, we know that even with all of the cheap electricity that would normally go to the Rio Tinto aluminium smelter, Aotearoa still needs over half as much electricity again as we generate today. So where's that going to come from? Well, talking to people around the country, I often find that solar is the most easily understood form of renewable energy. In a lot of cases, it's the first experience that people have of generating electricity in their own home. And with the impacts of climate crisis accelerating and the price of new technologies dropping dramatically, it makes sense to use the sun to heat our homes, to keep the lights on, and to power our cars. So here's the plan. Our next Green government will finance grants to halve the cost of installing solar and batteries at home. We'll equip all suitable public housing, and remember there are 63,000 state homes with solar panels and batteries. That'll include all new public housing, saving people on their power bills and enabling them to share clean energy with their neighbours. And to get it done, we will train thousands of people in new green jobs with a clean energy industry training plan. They will bring energy companies, industry organisations, training providers, unions and local government around the table to get people earning and to ensure that we have the people power that we need to make a just transition to our fossil fuel-free future. Communities will be supported by a $250 million clean energy fund, which they can draw upon to support local renewable energy projects. Now, that might be a project to harness the power of the wind, which we're all too familiar with here in Wellington, through local wind turbines. Or it might be a grant to a Papakāinga housing trust to install a community solar energy storage system. Whatever it may be, and I paraphrase Jeanette here again, it will empower communities to lead the way to an economy powered by 100% pure, clean, renewable energy. And our plan supports industry to make the switch too. From cooking, to sterilising, to melting, moulding and curing, heat is one of the key drivers of our economy. Now, lots of local businesses burn coal and gas to generate this heat, including to dry milk powder. In fact, about 60% of the heat generated by industry is done by burning fossil fuels. It's our second biggest energy-related contributor to climate change after transport. And in case you're wondering, we have a whole other announcement on transport coming up soon, so stay tuned. So, when we return to government, we will triple existing grants and low-interest loans for businesses to replace coal and gas with clean energy alternatives. Within our first 100 days of being returned to government, the Green Party will move to ban new industrial coal boilers and fossil fuel energy generation. We will end coal use in Aotearoa by 2030 and phase out fossil gas by 2035. Now, a national rooftop solar plus battery infrastructure project, plus the phasing out of fossil fuels in industry, will fundamentally change our energy mix and use in Aotearoa. And that means that we can reinstate the ban on building new fossil fuel energy generation. It means that we can stop issuing permits for new onshore oil and gas extraction. And it means that we can confidently bring forward the government's target for 100% renewable electricity generation from 2035 to 2030. And what all of that means is that together we can cut climate pollution from industrial heat and electricity generation by at least 40% in just the next 10 years. Now, as you reflect on that, think ahead for a moment. None of us here want our children or our grandchildren to grow up in a world where droughts are more frequent because we didn't do anything about it. None of us want our young nieces or nephews' lives disrupted by more frequent floods or storms because we didn't do something about it. And none of us want future generations to read about glaciers or the future of our ecosystems and never have the chance to see the wonder of nature for themselves because we didn't do something about it. The plan that we are announcing today will create thousands of good jobs for the people who need them the most right now, with the added benefit that we will be tackling climate change at the same time. We can get this right, but we cannot do it alone. So to anyone watching this at home, and I'm talking to you, that likes the idea of helping communities to switch to clean, climate-friendly forms of keeping people warm and keeping the lights on, I say this: get involved. Share our plan online. Talk to your friends and your neighbours, and think ahead to what a clean energy future means for you and for your family. This better future is within reach, and you never know that small action that you take might help us to get there faster. Today's announcement is the first part of our plan to create a clean energy future, a future where people have everything that they need to lead fulfilling, meaningful and prosperous lives, where simple everyday tasks like making the morning coffee, to travelling to and from work, to warming our homes is powered by clean, renewable energy, where cheap, clean power brings significant economic benefits for small businesses and rural communities. Above all, a future that is more equitable, more prosperous and more innovative, and all within planetary limits. We know that it is within our power to change the way that we do things. Over the last few months, we have seen the difference that good science and good government can make to people's lives. In a little over 10 weeks, we will ask people all across New Zealand to think ahead and to support the ideas we're putting forward to where we go next. It's in these ideas, like the one that we're announcing today, that you will find our better future. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Okay, well that was good. Another chunky policy announcement, building a solid lead in the election campaign policy game. I knew that Wellington would be a good place to do a clean energy policy launch, because when I was running for regional council last year, I literally ran on a platform of banning fossil fuels. I wrote an article in the Spin-Off saying that we should lead an international treaty to ban fossil fuels, and I didn't only get elected, I literally came first. So I was not surprised by the warm reception for that policy. Okay, so nothing more from me today except to say, if you'd like to get involved with the campaign, as James encouraged you all to do, we've got a great team here in Wellington on the ground doing lots of interesting things like door knocking and calling, and lots of great events. So please do stick around for a cuppa afterwards. Come and see me or anyone else in the team. And also, just a note, Gareth, really want to mihi to you and to all of your work, and I hope you'll be around out for a cuppa so that people can come and congratulate you and farewell you from Parliament this morning as well. So thanks very much, everybody. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
in now, the room next door. Stand up. Yeah, through there. Push that. Can you bring my mic?